Hello, welcome back to another episode of English Podcast with Paul. I'm your host, Paul. Sometimes, if you get bored of my face or you get bored of hearing my voice, sometimes we have other people presenting or other people to interview. So we mix it up a little bit. And it's not just audiobooks. Obviously, on YouTube, you can see there are other things such as vocabulary, interesting words, even terrible jokes explained. So have a good old peruse and a look around on YouTube for the other things. And then also there's lots of stuff and resources available on the website. Right, so get into today's discussion. Today we're talking about AI, artificial intelligence. Okay, so I've got some notes with me, and as I said before, this is unscripted, unedited, natural conversation. Okay, some people might believe this to be around B2, C1 level, just native conversation. All right, here we go. So AI, artificial intelligence. What's the big hoo-ha? What's the big deal? What's the ruckus? Lots and lots of people are talking now online, in the chats and in the forums. There's lots of talk on TV, TV shows made about AI, and all the issues surrounding AI, whether it be bad or good. We'll have a little bit of a dive into it now and see what jumps out. So I've done a little bit of research. A lot of this is stuff that I've actually read with my own students, and we discuss some of the ins and outs of the topic. So I pulled up about, I don't know, 8 or 9 different articles, so we could have a little look at and see what parallels there are in these articles and what other issues or other sides of the coin that it throws up. Okay, so diving straight in, first of all, the first article I've got here is Apple. Apple releases audiobooks narrated by AI. You choose an audiobook to listen to, you press play, and the voice of a woman named Madison begins narrating the story. Okay, so this doesn't sound too unusual, but the company says it's released audiobooks that are narrated by digital voices that sound just like human narrators. What else does it say? Apple explained that it wants to help smaller authors and publishers release audiobooks, which are usually quite difficult and expensive to produce. So I don't know there whether they're talking about people from different countries or non-native English to release books in English with the aid of an AI narrator. Apple announces some worried that AI narrators could one day fully replace human narrators. Well, yes, that's obviously the big concern. All right, what else does it go on to say? Customers want to listen to Carly Walters, who is the part of the Professional Association of Canadian Literacy Agents that told The Guardian. Okay, according to the Audio Publisher Association, New York, there has been a great increase in audiobook sales over the last 10 years. Well, yeah, we already knew that. Okay, so not a lot new there, not a lot exciting or hugely noteworthy, just that Apple are releasing some AI books, okay, AI narrated books. All right, what about this next one? All right, okay, so this one is Amazon. Award-winning to competitions. Many people worried artificial intelligence could one day replace humans. Yeah, we've kind of already covered that. So they've got, according to Reuters, which is a big sort of network in America, investigations and surveys and stuff like that. There are at least 200 books on Amazon Kindle store where the AI program ChatGPT is listed as the author or co-author. Now, that might just be a marketing ploy to get that name of ChatGPT to help sell their book. We don't know. But they claim there's probably a lot more that's been written by AI. Yeah, and I would quite agree that AI has been used a lot in writing. Okay, so full transparency, I've used ChatGPT to aid me in topics and headliners, things like that. But if you've used ChatGPT, you'll see it is very flawed still in regards that it doesn't have the human element. It often just writes for SEO, for search engine optimization. And so there's normally the way it's written is very dry or not very easily to read, almost like a textbook. So it definitely has some limitations, shall we say. Right, so AI, writing articles in AI. Right, okay, so the famous racing car driver Schumacher, Michael Schumacher, his family are planning on suing a German magazine after it published an interview with the former Formula One racing driver that was actually created by a computer. Okay, so I'm assuming he didn't get paid for it, or he didn't actually do the article. It was done with AI. That's interesting. Okay, all right. So that's an area things could happen in the future. Who would you sue for defamation of character? We already know about fake news and deep fakes and misinformation. But then if AI are creating some of these stories, how do you know what's true, what's not true? I recently read one article with my student where a lawyer in Germany had got some research for the courts, and it was a really big case, lots and lots of money. And I think it was to do with like an airline disaster back in the late 90s. And so this researcher used ChatGPT and allegedly claimed he didn't know that it was not 100% accurate and true. So the solicitor or the lawyer failed to do his or her due diligence. And so this was found out, and the judge was quite cross, and yeah, there's going to be some consequences there. So you can't rely on ChatGPT for 100% truth in what you read at the moment. So that's another issue. All right, okay, what else we got here? What else? Let's have a look. AI takes over Swiss radio station for the day. An artificial intelligence took over a Swiss public radio station on April 27th. That's this year, 2023. But unlike in the Terminator films, the AI gave up control after a one-day experiment in which it was responsible for the station's programming. Including reproducing the voices of the presenters. Wow, goodness me. New music created almost completely by the computer. Wow, wow. Goodness me. 20-minute announcement, which was also written by AI. Goodness me. Talked about economics, culture, and social, even political consequences. Goodness me. Wow. So that's interesting. All right then, let's move on to the next one. The next one we have here. AI improves call center productivity. Now, productivity in any work environment is always looked at as a bonus, you know, as a positive thing. More productivity, more money for the employer, more money for the company and the shareholders, and potential dividends at the end of that. So yeah, who wouldn't want improvement in the call center? Okay. That's interesting. I think that was in the Philippines. But there is another side to that. We'll come back to that. All right. New AI translates dead languages. So this talks about there are many languages dying all the time. There's something like 7,000 languages, and they're dying every 2 weeks. So that is nothing new. That's nothing unusual. But now with the help of AI, many languages they will able to help bring, maybe not bring back to life, but to document some of the words that are used that are similar to other languages. So like kind of build up an encyclopedia of foundations and cornerstone blocks of languages, because many languages are linked, you know, such as English and German, and you know, as they go back to Latin and things like that. There's lots of connectives there. So that's very interesting. I can't see any downsides to that, only gaining more information and data about the past and about history, which would be a great thing. Okay, all right, what's the next one? AI cameras catch drivers on phone in Australia. All right, so they're talking about a fine, talking about New South Wales artificial intelligence, who is probably using a phone when it's slightly out of sight. Oh, wow. 8.5 million vehicles were checked. And wow, and what did it say? 100,000 drivers were caught using their phones in June 2019. Wow, wow. Well, anything that saves a human life. So if a car driver is on the phone and they're distracted, and it's against the law in most countries. Most countries, it's against the law to use a mobile phone. So if the camera catches you doing it, hopefully that'll be a really good deterrent and people will stop using it altogether. Because if it saves just one life, then it's worth the hassle. It's worth the fine. It's worth the inconvenience. So AI is helping potentially save lives there. All right. Okay, so that's an interesting article. Google. All right, so now we're moving into the more academic and the more serious and professional side of things here. So we've got Google AI finds breast cancer with 99% accuracy. Now that's a pretty strong statistic to be throwing around out there. So the system examines images of body tissue and samples of signs of metastasized breast cancer. Metastasized cancer are one that have spread across the body and one of the worst and deadliest cancers. Wow. So yeah, if we could get another way of detecting breast cancer just from photographs, then that would be an amazing thing. I'm sure that would save lots and lots of lives. Wow. And for that reliability, it's got to be worth investing the money in that and the time and the energy. Goodness me. So, but Google has said here, it's clear that the AI system is not meant to replace the worker of a medical professional. Instead, it's just there to enhance and help with greater productivity and accuracy. Because some people, especially with COVID, there's been really long waiting lists for people to get to see a professional, whether it's in regards to a lump they found or whether it's to do with operations. Lots of waiting lists and surgeries have been postponed, and there's obviously a big backlog, a big list of people to get through. Okay, so that's interesting. All right, what's the next one? All right. AI helps scientists discover a powerful new antibiotic. Okay, so we're staying in the professional realm here, and medical side. So antibiotics, obviously a very big part of our life, and what with MRSA, methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, yay. Bugs that are able to be resilient to our antibiotics are becoming more and more familiar. So if we can find something new antibiotics to help with any issue, any illness, then that's got to be a great thing. That's got to be a really good thing. So yeah, superbugs. Okay, so it talks there about millions of people having bugs and superbugs, and the World Health Organization, one of the three superbugs that most urgently need new antibiotics. They mention one here. I can't pronounce that. Achimobacter banjabum. Anyway, so yes, antibiotics. If AI can help with that, then brilliant, brilliant. Okay, and definitely much quicker. All right, Google. Right, so now we're flipping over now. Now we're looking at the other side of the coin. So we started off discussing AI and some of the positive things and great things that happen with AI, and looking at how broad a spectrum AI is in regards to positive sides. Now let's look at some of the negative sides, right? So as I just said, Google bans the use of AI technology for weapons. All right, so they've released the CEO, Sundar Pichai, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name very well, has announced a decision, and he's mentioned it, that Google are no longer going to help with anything that creates or causes harm. That's what they've said. Okay, so I think that's a good ethical idea, not to make anything that causes harm. Although I feel we've already let the cat out of the bag, so to speak. All right, there's already a lot of AI available for everybody to use free, thanks to ChatGPT and a few other organizations and companies. So the cat's already out of the bag, it's already there. It's a bit late, bearing in mind Google probably helped develop some of this technology and research. I'd imagine it's a bit late for Google to be saying that. Okay, all right, what's this next one? Right. So Elon Musk, along with many other people, invested a lot of money into ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT became very popular, and then they sort of sold themselves out to the highest bidder, and that turned out to be Microsoft and Bill Gates. So the people that had invested in this technology that was supposed to stay open source or open, free and available has now closed its doors and jumped in bed with Microsoft, so to speak. And so one person that's spoken out about this is Elon Musk, and he's mentioned it in Twitter. So in Elon Musk's fashion and how he likes to do things, right, well, I'll make my own way. So if you don't know Elon Musk already, he's one of the key people in head of Tesla motor cars. Also SpaceX with the returning rockets for NASA. Also the Boring Company. He's also now the CEO of Twitter. I think there's a solar power company. Also the power wall that he makes and sells. I think even in Australia, he put in a massive, great big battery bank backup for when there's big outages, electric outages. So yeah, he's a big deal. He's a billionaire. He tends to take the bull by the horns and jump into to what's not working for him and create his own. So he's going to create his own ChatGPT, and that's very interesting. Primarily because with his Tesla cars and that machine learning they have with their chips and their technology that they built from the ground up, and then all that learning involved with all those hundreds of thousands and almost millions of Tesla cars, they're all talking and communicating together, and Tesla's gathering all that data, all that knowledge and people's input, and it helps the Tesla car learn quicker and quicker and quicker and better. Hence why it's going to one day be fully self-driving, where governments are happy for the vehicle to take responsibility and do the driving itself. So they have a lot of understanding. They're quite far ahead in the game of learning, machine learning, and all that data collecting. And one thing that Tesla said was that as well as the money he put into ChatGPT in the early days, he understood and found that ChatGPT was using a lot, well not a lot, but a considerable amount of data from Twitter, from the internet, from people's inputs. So he's put a stop to that, because obviously that's a big set of information, data set of information that he can use himself. Because if you don't already know, Tesla are making their own robot. I don't know if you've seen stuff like Boston Dynamics. They're the forefront leaders at the moment. Boston Dynamics with their big robots that are humanoids and can do all sorts of amazing things. There's even some parodies of jokes of the robots taking over on Boston Dynamics on a YouTube channel, because the real, sorry, Bosstown Dynamics YouTube is the parody, is the joke. Boston Dynamics is the real company. And they also made Spot, you know, the little robot dog that can wander around building sites or big utility installations without the worry of gas. And it has a camera and LiDAR and all these sensors. So Spot and the other robots that are being built at Boston Dynamics are amazing, especially leading the forefront there. They're really great. But Tesla is making their own. So if you imagine the manufacturing and the neural machine learning and understanding from that, then that's, like I said, a big head start and a jump forward for Tesla. Not to mention the Neuralink, where they have a chip about the size of a 10-pence coin embedded in the skull. They've just got FDA approval. So American Medication, Federal Bureau of, I don't know, Federal Drug Administration body, that's it. The FDA approval for them to go ahead with human trials. They've already done a lot of monkey trials. And the way this fits in is because of machine learning, computers, data input, and all these building blocks that they already have So Tesla's a big deal. Okay, so we were looking at the positive sides, and then we started looking at the negatives a little bit there with Google talking about they don't want any AI to be used for harm, and I said that's a can of worms has already been opened. So where else can this go? Where else can we look? The negative effects. So I think there's two sides to it. One side is that will people be put out of work or displaced from work? Yes, most definitely, most definitely. Many in the modern worlds and the very technology driven part of the world in the West and the first world countries, there's going to be a lot of people displaced and moved into more different sectors that AI hasn't invaded yet, such as, I don't know, such as finance or physically actually caring, or even the physical roles. So I know in time, maybe in another 10 years, there'll be robots that will do the physical jobs. And maybe there's some jobs will be taken from writers or artists, unless you can evidence it and validate it, the fact that you're coming from a real robot, from personal experience. You know, maybe you put a hologram or you put something on this article or on this artwork to connect to a real human being, because there is already Instagram influencer with thousands of followers that is completely AI generated, completely fake. And that it is making lots of money with sponsorships because at the moment it's very popular. Okay, so AI has been around for a little while. There was a previous version of it a couple of years back where it was very negative, the media coverage, because it gave out a few swear words or bad ideas. So that was kind of like put to sleep. And then this new ChatGPT is reviving it again and helping invest money into research. So the bad side is that people will be displaced. There will be a time as we go through that governments and people aren't sure where they stand in this world of AI. But on the positive side, I think there's a whole load of benefits. Now, if you think back to when I was at school and when I was a child, adults then really didn't like the idea of us using a calculator for our exams and for our studies. A calculator was deemed as cheating and that our brains would go soft and that we would become stupid and we wouldn't know how to do long multiplications and things like this. And partly that's true, yes, partly that's true. But in our current society, it's not necessary. And many people would prefer that you did it on a calculator, especially if it's their money you're messing with. If it's their money that they're asking you to calculate in regards to an invoice or a bill, they want it done correctly and they want it done 100% perfect. So people these days are happy for you to use a calculator because society's moved forward. So I can see a parallel where this ChatGPT will understand its flaws and its limitations and will become accustomed and integrated into our everyday society. There's definitely going to be, it's definitely bigger than just a calculator by immeasurable amounts. So it is going to be much bigger and take longer to become more natural and more normal in society. But as the young people now are growing up, 9, 10, 12-year-olds are going into secondary school and then go into further education and then into the job market, the AI space will hopefully be out of its infancy and into maybe a more recognized and normal situation. So there is that. On the other side, I do believe that people are being more their own brand and branding themselves individually. So I think the workplace is changing very much so these days. Right, okay. So AI, let's wrap up. We've got AI hitting a lot of news headlines, coming into a few different areas of maybe into medication, into writing, into artwork, digital art, also into photography, into TV presenting. Obviously, we already have animation films, but I can see now the actors have gone on strike. I can imagine people are thinking about having AI and avatar actors, not real human beings, for safety purposes, or for other purposes. And in the future, that could be the way things go. Maybe in the future, as Elon might suggest, that we need to integrate more into technology on a physical level as well. Otherwise, we could potentially be left behind. I mean, how do you feel about that? People now have an RFID chip in their hand where they can just put their hand forward and open up the car door or open up their house. That's already a thing. You can have technology on your arm. That's already a thing. How far will it go? Who knows? So we got the negative sides, we got the positive sides, we got where is it going in the future, and the fact it's going to be all up in the air and a little bit unknown for a while. But I think in general, my opinion is in general, that it's still a positive thing. If it helps people, saves lives. And so far, looking at the data, it's saving drivers from having road traffic accidents by finding them, so then they become more aware of their actions and their behaviors. It's helping people in medication, for help with breast cancer, and who knows what the limit is there in regards to other ailments. Maybe in the future you have an app, your medical app, and you just take some photos of your body or your body parts, or even maybe your blood or something like that, or it can take a photo through your skin. And then maybe in the future, doctors may even become not necessary, and we just get a prescription. So who knows? Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's a state of flux. But I think it's positive, because right now it's saving people's lives. And it's very hard to say no to something that saves people's lives. All right? It's helping us move forward with technology and our society move forward, not just in those realms already, but in the future it could help with architecture, with building things that are stronger, finding new elements, finding new chemicals, all sorts of positive things that could happen. All right? I'm not saying we're going to be the Jetsons and flying around in cars, but we are definitely taking another big step forward. And then if that's combined with, say, for example, the quantum computer and quantum bits, then yeah, the possibilities are endless. Endless possibilities. So I think it's a positive thing. I think it's a good thing. Technology is moving forward as it should. As we all get old, we all get too much, too scary, too soon. So yes, maybe it should be tempered. Maybe it should slow down a little bit for allowing humans to catch up. But moving forward, I think, is a positive and good thing overall. Let me know what your thoughts are. Put them down in the comments. Tell me, do you already use AI? Are you concerned for your job? Put something down in the comments. Let's open up the conversation. Have a conversation. Okay, so that's it for today. Let me know what you think. As always, have fun learning English. Enjoy learning English. Stay happy, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.